Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that he is suspending his independent presidential bid. AP correspondent Jackie Quinn reports.
The DNC waged continual legal warfare against both President Trump and myself.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the nephew of JFK, says the Democratic Party worked to keep him out of the race. And now he's afraid of being a spoiler. So he's suspending his campaign in key battleground states.
My name will remain on the ballot in most states.
And gave reasons why he's endorsing Donald Trump.
Free speech, the war in Ukraine, and the war on our children.
Kennedy says Trump has promised him a position in fighting childhood and adult diseases.
We will make Americans healthy again.
Linking disease to processed foods and chemicals in the environment. Trump said of Kennedy yesterday.
Very smart, a little bit different, and that's okay.
I'm Jackie Quinn.
Vice President Kamala Harris formally accepted the Democratic nomination for president on Thursday with a rousing call to fight tyranny around the world, drawing a sharp contrast with Republican Donald Trump. Gabe Singer from Reuters has more.
I accept your nomination.
Since Harris emerged as the Democratic candidate after President Joe Biden dropped out, her campaign has broken fundraising records, packed arenas with supporters, and turned opinion polls in some battleground states in Democrats' favor. Before a packed House, Harris made some of her strongest foreign policy statements to date, vowing not to cozy up to tyrants and dictators who she said were, quote, rooting for Trump. Harris also laid out some broad policy principles, announcing tax cuts for the middle class and vowing to fight for reproductive freedom and voting rights. Harris also called to end the Gaza war.
Now is the time to get a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal done.
Gabe Singer from Reuters. For additional stories, visit voanews.com. This is VOA News. AP correspondent Charles De La Desma reports on recent Ukrainian successes in the war with Russia.
Ukraine's military says it used high-precision glide bombs provided by the US to carry out strikes in Russia's Kursk region, while also claiming to have recaptured some territory in the eastern region of Kharkiv, where Russia launched an offensive in the spring. A video from Ukraine's Air Force commander on Thursday night purported to show a Russian platoon base being hit in the Kursk region. The commander adds the attack with GBU-39 bombs resulted in Russian casualties and the destruction of equipment. Ukraine's forces have gained new momentum this month after delayed deliveries of US weaponry were finally released. I'm Charles De La Desma.
Floods wreaked more havoc in India's northeast and neighboring Bangladesh's eastern region, raising this week's total death toll to 30, officials and media reports said on Friday. Rain stopped in many parts of Bangladesh on Friday, and weather officials in Dhaka said the waters had started receding in some areas, but said the flooding would not be over for days. In India's Tripura state, 8 more people died in the last 24 hours, said a state disaster management official on condition of anonymity as he was not authorized to speak to media. Earlier, 11 people were reported dead. In Bangladesh, 7 more people died in the last 24 hours, Dhaka-based Econ Television reported Friday. President Biden plans to dispatch his national security advisor to China next week as the Biden administration seeks to sharpen its foreign policy focus in its final months. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports.
A person familiar with the planning says Jake Sullivan is due to make his first trip to China to meet with his Beijing counterpart. That could potentially set the stage for another meeting between the president and Chinese leader Xi Jinping after their visit in California last year. The U.S.-China relationship is complicated amid deep differences on economic competition and global security. Sullivan's visit would come as both candidates to replace the president are vowing tough China policies. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
A Canadian workers' union has threatened to strike against one of Canada's 2 major freight railroads. The notice came Friday only 3 hours after the company's trains had begun rolling again following a potentially economically devastating stoppage. Teamsters Canada spokesperson Marc-Andre Gauthier says the union filed its strike notice against Canadian National shortly after it announced that it plans to challenge a government order forcing it into arbitration with both CN and Canadian Pacific Kansas City Ltd. to resolve a labor contract dispute. CPKC workers have been on strike since Thursday, and the railroad's trains have remained idle.
Thank you for watching. Can you do me a favor? Please leave a comment in the comments section below. That would really help. Thank you, and see you again soon.